Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Northeast Scene Podcast. This is Keith.
And Tommy.
It's Monday night. You know what that means. We're here to annoy you once again. You know what? Something funny happened this past weekend. I was with Romy, and we're in her daughter's room hanging some LED lights and just cleaning up and all that stuff. And she's like, let's put on music. I'm like, let's put on a podcast. And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, that's what I do when when I'm like working on stuff. I listen to a radio or podcasts. And she's like, all right, put on yours. And I was like, no, I don't want to listen to mine. It'd be too weird. I'm like, let's listen to this other one. And she's like, no, I can only handle one annoying guy in my life.
Well, at least she's clever, dude. That's like one of those things where you don't want to. I hate to say this, but I have like 3 or 4 people I work with that have podcasts, and they're always like, you should check out my podcast. And I always kind of want to be like, you should check out mine. Then I'm like, never mind, don't do that. You're like a 45-year-old mother of 4. Like, you don't want to fucking listen to us talk about punk rock and stuff.
I don't tell any coworkers at all about this because I keep that very separate from my job. And I don't listen. There's one podcast I listen to because it's, based on something I'm interested in, but that's it. I don't really listen to podcasts. I'll check out friends' podcasts sometimes, like Off the Beat. I've listened to a couple times.
Yeah.
Brendan's podcast.
I've listened to Brendan Yeah.
That's good. Like, I don't know. There's only one in my rotation, really, and listening to ours just makes me self-conscious. Like when I post it on Monday morning, I'm so afraid that I did something wrong that I'm like afraid to listen to.
Yeah. You don't want it to come back and be like, oh, did you hear what Keith said? And you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. You know what?
Or just I'm afraid I like clipped out a whole segment on accident and that there's like an hour of silence.
I still think about this. Have you had nightmares about it yet? I'm sure you do. You have
not nightmares, but I'll have these mixtape dreams where, like, I'm joining the band that we're talking to. I'm talking to them. I'm listening to them. It's like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Interviewing them, that type of thing.
Yeah. See, I have now gotten to the point where, like, there's been a couple times where, like, I've had like the, oh my God, what did I say on the podcast thing? Where I'm like, oh shit. Like I gotta, like, there's been a couple dreams where I've woken up and been like, I think I have to text Keith to take that out. And they're always like ridiculous, crazy things. Like, the one I woke up and I was like, I was in like a full on like sweat, and I woke up and it was that somehow you and I, cause well, again, this doesn't go back to work, but you and I have joked about this for the longest time. Like, but I was, somehow you and I had gotten a ton of money together and we were buying something crazy and we were going to sell it to these dudes. And then I was like, I woke up thinking it was real, like, cause that's how real the dream felt. And I was like, I got to call Keith and cancel that. Like, those dudes are going to kill him. We can't have this happen. Like, this is going to be too much. It was so real.
Buying shit and reselling it. That's like a Tommy thing.
No, that's totally, that's a me thing to like, that's, I think, my mom said this the one day because she was talking about something at the house and she said, she's like, you do eBay, right? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, how do you do that? And I was like, well, I just use the app on my phone and it's nice because I can just take the pictures and then sell stuff real fast. And she's like, what do you sell? And I'm like, everything. She's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. It's now become to the point where like, I think in the last like 2 months, I think I've sold like $700 or $800 worth of stuff on there.
Some people enjoy that. They enjoy listing it. They enjoy looking at other stuff. They enjoy buying stuff, selling stuff. I'm not one of them, but I know other people who are into this.
So I buy stuff with no intention of ever wearing it or using it.
That just seems like a big waste of time.
So it is, and it's so, all right. You know how I like when I go to work, I wear I like polo dress shirts. Like they
Yeah.
fit really nice, every time I've had one, they've lasted for a really long time. Like they last super long, even when I wash them and like don't take them to the dry cleaners. So I continually I'll go, oh, like and I have a shaved head, so like the back of my neck rubs against the top of the collar, so
Yes.
the collars get worn out pretty fast on mine. And I say fast, I mean like every 8 months I need to get a new one, right? So I was like, I'm looking for a new one, and I saw a brand new one in the package, like with the like the in the like still in the plastic with the tags on it, but it was like, do you know those ones that like, and I always think of like thugged out dudes wearing them, the like the polo teddy bear stuff.
Yes.
So it literally had like the front and all the way down the sleeves. It had like maybe 30 of the small teddy bears, kind of like, what do you call that? Like where they, I guess embroidered like on it. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I was like, I would never wear that. But I looked at the price and it was $850, and it was new in the like completely new. And I was like, wow. Like, and it was free shipping. So I was like, I'll just put a bid on it. And I came really close to winning it. It was like $21.
Wait,
And
so why?
because I know that I can go and resell it for like 60. Because if you put it in there and you put it in the like with the right, because they didn't have it labeled correctly. They just had Ralph Lauren dress shirt, size large. And it's like, no, put in there polo bear dress shirt. Like if you put the right tags in it, you attract the right audience. And then people that are really into that shit, like if you put it in there at like, a buy it now price of like $50, there's a ton of people that'll just watch it and bid on it. It's just,
It's like thrifting.
it's like flea market. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that. But like that's what my grandfather did that for a long time, was like he ran a booth at Quaker City in Philly, at the flea market on Saturdays and Sundays.
So
And
this is in your genetics.
oh yeah, 100%.
I
But
understand.
when he got really lazy at the end, like when he was like in his 80s, I thought this was the funniest thing in the world. My mom got so mad at him. We went down to go visit him at the thing. So first of all, he was a heavy drinker. So, we go to visit him at like 7 o'clock in the morning. He's definitely shithouse drunk. And, trying to like make conversation, and he's like clearly like not with it. But my mom is like, Dad, this is all new stuff. My grandfather's thing was he would go around in this van and pick up like lawnmowers, weed whackers, like yard equipment kind of shit. And he would fix it in the garage and make it work and then go and sell it at the flea market. He got really lazy at the end, and he just started going to the dollar store, and he would just buy like packages of things and then take them out of the packages and then just put them on the table. So he would buy like, you go to the dollar store and buy like like two different types of screwdrivers.
Yes.
He would just take the two out of the package and sell them each for $1. And I was like, Pop, people are gonna like people.
Who's gonna figure that out though? Like, there's no
Nobody.
dollar store expert. Like,
Oh
who's gonna?
no! But like
Yeah.
people like walk past that and go, "Oh my god, I can get that for $1. Like that's a screwdriver for $1." Meanwhile, my grandfather paid 50 cents for him, and he thinks it's the fucking greatest thing in the world. Like,
Buy it for $1, sell it for $2.
yeah, and then he would spend all of his money. There was when he passed away, I thought this was hilarious. My aunt was like, because he finally ended up living with my aunt because they said he couldn't live in the house in Ben Salem anymore. So, he had so many cans. He would buy all his food. He would like not eat dinner with anybody, like, or he would come out and sit down to dinner and just have a beer or wine. And my aunt would be like, "Pop, you gonna eat?" And he would just not eat. So when he died, my aunt said she went through his closet. He had like like 100 cans of tuna. Like all these like packages of crackers and shit. Like he would just literally buy food from the dollar store and store it inside inside of his closet, and just
Wow.
that's how he ate, dude. It was fucking crazy.
He's like a cat.
Oh, he's like a crazy person that lived through the Depression. So he literally just like he thinks every day they're gonna come and take you away, so you might as well be stocked up. Like,
Oh my god.
dude, it's nuts. That's a nutty way to live. However, it is what it is.
It certainly is. Well, folks, it's Monday night once again. We're here, and we're going to be talking to Keith Goodwin from Goodwin.
Yes.
I'm looking really forward to that. We grew up with him. He's gone far places and music, and when we have that hometown connection, that's always fun.
I can't wait to talk to him too, because there's a couple of things that I heard about him when we were growing up, and I want to be like, you know what? I've always thought that for years about Keith, and I can't wait to ask him in person. Like that'd be really awesome.
Plus, it's the first time we're having another Keith on the show.
Oh shit.
That's very special.
That's killer. That how confusing that got when we had Lee Ving on and he kept talking about my dad, and he finally was just like, all right, Tom Sr. I'm like, yeah, that's close enough, dude.
There was another Tommy on the show too. Who was that?
Tommy Manson from
Oh, right. Yeah. Because I was like Tommy 1 and Tommy 2. And
yeah.
Folks, do you hear how wonderful and crisp and new Tommy sounds? His new mic came in the mail, and he's joined the professional ranks of podcasters.
I got this from eBay.
What? No. Yeah, when you said that, I actually got mad for a second. It's like residual.
No. It's so funny. Is like when I got this one, I sent Keith the I sent Keith the receipt. Like I took a screenshot of it, and I was like,
yeah,
no, I got this from a legitimate place. I got it from the place you told me to get it from. I got it from Best Buy. We're good. It's coming. It's doing 2-day shipping. We're okay. Like
I have to audit you.
I do, because in my head, I think like if I can get it for cheaper somewhere, I'm totally doing that. But
no.
Not with stuff like this, not with electronics. It is really a dumb idea. And I think that's like, somebody said it the one time. I think it actually might have been Josh from Hope's Fall, was like, if you buy cheap, you buy twice. And he's not fucking wrong. At this point, I bought 3 times.
Yeah, it's so true.
So true. Especially with like musical and recording like stuff. And I think about this, like I've had the same guitar since I was 17 or 18 years old. Like I spent a couple like $1,200 on I bought an Ibanez Prestige, and that's what I've always played. Like that's constant. Like, and it's the guitar I've had now for 20 years.
Yeah, I have the same guitar I've had since I was 20. It's an Epiphone acoustic. It's broken though. The neck snapped, but I want to get it fixed at some point because it's the first guitar I ever had. I wrote most of the music I've written on that thing. And then I got an electric Epiphone SG. I think that's broken. And then I have a Univox Badass, I think it's called. It's
that's the one Doug got for you, right?
No, I bought it from my friend Max. It's an awesome guitar though. Great sounding guitar.
I like that one. That one has that cool like antique violin kind of finish to it, right?
Yeah.
I like that look.
Yeah. That's a good one. It's the only guitar I've ever played when someone asked me what it was, so that's how I knew it was good.
There you go.
So yeah, Keith Goodwin's going to be here. That's exciting. Tommy's got a new mic.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We figured out what the noise was that was coming from his house and took care of that. That's exciting.
That's really exciting, especially there is another. I just panicked for a second. You might actually hear that noise for a split second. I just moved my computer. So I have my wife's MacBook from work sitting next to me. I just moved it away. When I started recording with you about a minute and a half in, that fan started, like the cooling fan that they have on the inside. And
I don't think that picks up because that fan runs on my computer the whole time and I don't hear anything.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. I just heard it starting and I was like, oh, I'm just moving the computer.
So what else is going on? That project management exam I have to take this year?
Yeah.
I scheduled it for December 30th. So it's on now. There's no way out.
Sick. I like.
So I had to rearrange my whole schedule to start studying every day. So if I can conquer this thing and get it, it's going to be the greatest thing I've ever done besides this podcast.
I did that with my math exam.
Yes.
I scheduled it July 2nd and we left for Disney July 3rd. So I was literally like, I have to fucking pass this exam or I'm going to ruin Disney for my kids. Like,
yeah. Oh, I remember that whole thing. Yeah.
I'm going to be a fucking mess in like getting on a plane, being like, I'm going to have to study while I'm on the plane. If I fail at this time, and I passed the first time. So I was like, all right, cool.
I hope I tell that story on the podcast in January.
That'll be nice because that'll be and here's the other thing. What a great way to start the new year. New year, new certification, you know what I mean? Like new prospects for with your career and whatnot. Like that's such a good way to start a good year. Like, and that's a solid way to think about it too.
I hope that happens because I am starting a new career in January. Same company, slightly different position. So
That's cool.
you know. So let's see what else what's going on with you.
Not really much. I'm still teaching from home. I've been kind of like getting a little bit antsy with I really feel like I think the like, and I'm going back and forth with it because like I have an immune system problem, so like me being in a classroom now is probably not the greatest of ideas.
Hmm.
But I'm just looking at the work like my daughters are doing for school, and it's not because it's just like at home work. It's not terribly challenging, and Monday through Thursday they just get assignments on the computer and they just do them at like however long it takes them to do. Like there's no teacher there teaching them. Like they might have a video or something that goes along with it, but they start school at 9 in the morning. Most of the time, by the time like I have lunch from 12:30 to 1. When I go
Hmm.
upstairs at 12:30, like they're like, "Daddy, I'm done school," or "Daddy, I've been done school," and I'm like, "Okay, that's not good." You went to
They're
school.
not getting the full day.
Yeah, you went to school for 3 hours, and I bet like an hour of that you were kind of like fucking around.
School still sucks. It sounds like.
Yeah, whether it's online or not, it's fucking it's school, so you just learn to deal with it.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk to Keith.
Yay!
Yes. So here you go, folks. Keith Goodwin. Enjoy. All right, folks. We're here with Keith Goodwin. Woo!
Yeah.
Keith, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
Hey, this is exciting. This is the first time we've had another Keith on the show.
I know. I found that Keiths like to talk to other Keiths. I don't know if you're that way, but I am that way.
Absolutely, because it's a rare name. There's not a lot of people named Keith. I hated my name when I was younger because a lot of people made fun of it, but I love it now because so few people have it. And this is a real mind-blowing quick story. One time I was walking down the street on the phone with my friend Keith, and I bumped into another Keith that I know. It was
Nice.
like the most Keith moment I've ever
My
experienced.
son is also named Bort.
That's beautiful. So Keith, how's it going, man?
It's going all right. I'm
Yeah.
trying to stay busy over here.
Yeah, so what do you do during these pandemic times? What's your day-to-day look like?
Well, I mean, since school started, there's that, virtual school
Yeah.
with the kids. But
How many kids do you have?
I have two. They're about to be 7 and 9.
Ah, okay.
So there's that now. But so what we try to do is I don't plan out my days, by the hour. I'm a little unorganized like that, but
Yeah.
we try to just get most of the schoolwork done for the week as fast as possible. I mean, we want the kids to learn, so we will sit there and do the work and get it done thoroughly, but try to get it done within the first couple days of the week. And then that way I can work a little bit more on some days. Because if I have to sit with them from 9 to 4 or something like that, there's just not a ton of time for me to get work done. My studio is I took over the dining room.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can get a bunch of time where they go outside and play with the neighbors and stuff, and I can get some stuff done.
That's cool. So what kind of projects are you doing? Now, we were talking a little bit before we hit record, so it sounds like you're recording and producing a number of podcasts, right?
Yeah, I've been editing a podcast called "Send Your Demos to Table 5."
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also been getting a podcast started for a marketing company. So I've been doing that, but I've been doing more music than podcasting.
That's good because music is more fun. And, editing podcasts is a pain in the ass. So would you be willing to edit this podcast for a very small fee?
No.
Good answer.
Yeah. I've been helping this group called Lulanis get some recordings done. I taught them how to do some home recording, and been helping them get some stuff done. I've been doing some work with this group called Best Friends from the area.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Richie Taver, I think, is all friends with all those guys.
Oh, yes, he's in the sound business too.
And then I've been making some like a little bit of a solo record with this guy Rob Devious,
Mm-hmm.
Rob Deckhard.
Yo, so like weird kind of thing. Somebody sent me his stuff on SoundCloud, and I'm not exaggerating. It might be 5 or 6 years ago. Does he record like out in a shed behind his house?
Yes,
Dude, this kid is fucking unbelievable.
he
Like
really is.
you name a type of music, this dude can do it, and not only do it, but play it well. Like he's a fucking really. He had a song that was on his SoundCloud that I downloaded and I put on my iPod, and it's still I put it on things all the time when I go running. It's just a piano track of him playing. It is an absolutely gorgeous piece of music, dude. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but he does everything from that to like heavy ass music to like it's just he fucking is funk. It's fucking insane, dude. He can do everything.
He's the real deal.
Yeah, he's like, and he can do like the one. There's another track that I have, and I again the name escapes me, but it's like think like lo-fi kind of beats kind of thing. Like it's just him with like an MPC. Like, dude, it's so good. It's he has a really smart way of putting things together. That kid's a phenomenal musician.
Yeah, and he does it all. Like he plays everything on those tracks too, which is really cool to watch. You know.
That sounds awesome. That's what I want to get into. I want to get into the whole home recording thing. That's going to be my next big project whenever I have time or money again. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, see, with I guess it started with Days Away. When we first got a record deal, I bought a MacBook Pro and an M-Box, and just started learning how to record demos for the band, and just released things here and there from that, but never really got serious with it. I just used it as like a demo tool. But
Right.
any producer we ever worked with, I would pick their brain. And now I can make full on records over here just in my dining room,
That's amazing. That's the dream. That's what I want to do. Because my band, I put out a EP a couple years ago, but there's one song we never recorded that I just love. I'm like, it's always in my head, and I'm like, I got to get this thing out. I got to record it at some point. So it would be nice to be able to demo that at home. So my plan is to also buy a MacBook Pro and Logic, or I don't know, whatever people recommend, and just get to it.
Yeah, I think I tell everybody that it's a good skill to have, to be able to at least record yourself,
Yes.
because there's so many musicians now that, I mean, I guess things are getting sort of back to normal where people are getting together, but for a while there, if you didn't know how to record yourself, you're not getting jobs,
Exactly. You're screwed. Yeah. So Keith, where do you live now?
I live in Langhorne Borough.
Ah, so you're still holding it down in Bucks County.
Still holding it down in Bucks County. When we started touring, and I was living in Philly, and when Days Away was like about to break up, I started kind of feeling like I need to figure out what my life is going to look like.
Right.
And everybody was just partying really hard in the city.
Yes.
And I kind of got to a point where I was like, either I'm going to stay here and nothing good is going to happen for me, or I just move back to Langhorne and just try to get my shit together. And so my wife and I, we weren't married at the time, but we found this little house in the borough on this little private street that we didn't even know was there. And it was at 700 square feet. It was in a nice neighborhood, but it was only a 1-bedroom, and with property. So we bought it up and have been here ever since. And I kind of was just like, well, I'm on the road enough, and I'm at clubs and bars and all kinds of different cities all the time. So
Yeah, you get that experience on the road. So that's incredible. I love when people make rational decisions like that because I never did make a rational decision, and I never started to until about 3 years ago. So yeah, I lived in Philly too, and I was, really circling the drain, and I was like, let's keep going. Let's see what happens. So
let's push this as far as we can go, and let's see when the wheels fall off. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I ended up moving up to New York City, and things were stable for about 0 days. and then they got worse over the next few years, but everything worked itself out, and now I'm living a very fruitful and responsible life.
good.
Yeah, Keith, I saw you at the skate park that they opened up in Langhorne the one morning.
Yeah, got to get the kids out. And that place is awesome. So, but we go really early in the morning because I'm not trying to get run over by anybody.
Oh no, that's when I go. Yeah, I get there at sunrise on Saturdays and Sundays, and it's me and like maybe one or two other guys that are there like every morning at like 6. There's a dude that's a teacher now that he's there at like 6 because he lives in Langhorne Borough too, and he literally drives there and like eats breakfast, hangs out, and then starts skating like when the sun comes up.
Yeah,
I get there a little bit after that.
Yeah, Tommy told me that he would see you there, Keith, and I'd be like, yo, we got to get him on the show. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm always really nervous about being on a podcast because I don't really like listening to my voice.
Oh, dude, I'm so with you. The amount of editing I do to myself when this thing is done just to make myself sound normal is crazy. I stutter a lot. I mess up everything. I forget things. And I'm super, super sensitive and self-conscious as well, so that doesn't help.
This is the first podcast I've ever been on.
Are you serious?
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. This is my first podcast appearance.
How could this be the first? You've done so much in music. I mean, come on.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we're very happy for this to be the first one. And what better place than the Northeast scene? So let's talk about our history together. Was that a fucking good segue or what?
Yes, dude. Right there.
Love it.
Seamless.
So the reason we started this podcast was because we all came from such a rich music scene. So we all grew up together in Bucks County, and the number of bands, there was this email that came out that Revelation Records did, where they talked about the number of artists that came from Bucks County. It's like This Day Forward, Circus Survive, Days Away, like everybody. And I got to find that and read it on the show sometime. But yeah, man, the number of bands was just crazy. So it's always good to circle back and to talk to someone who was right at the center of it all. So Keith, were you in any bands before Days Away, or was that the first one?
That was the first one.
Wow. So you hit a home run right out of the gate. How does it feel?
I mean, I feel like I got a little bit lucky, but that and, there was the starting line, and they did, I don't know how they got started. You used to get Kenny on the show.
We want to. Yeah, we want to.
But I know he passed our music around to people who ended up helping Days Away. So without them, I'm not sure what would happen, really. But, I listened to some of that old Days Away stuff, and I'm like, well, that's pretty cool for, a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude. You guys all met at Neshaminy, or most of you?
Yep.
Okay, because I remember you being in the mix at the Shaw house or at Colin's house, or, who was in the original lineup?
In the original lineup, there was Matt Haynes, Chris Frangisetto, Matt Austin, and then Greg Itzen.
Yes.
That was in high school. Where's all those guys? And then at some point, Tim Arnold joined the band. That was like right out of high school. And when we were started to get, he played with us a couple of times at like a battle of the bands here and there.
Yeah, and I remember Days Away making a splash even back in the day. I'll never forget this one show. I think it was at the Yardley Firehouse, and I remember you guys playing, and just looking at the faces of everybody in the crowd, just like transfixed. And I seem to remember there was just like a red light shining, or maybe I'm making that up, but I was just like, wow, these guys have it going on. This is good stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a terrible memory, but I
Yeah.
have this memory of playing, and I don't even know where it was. It was some VFW hall. I want to say it was somewhere up near the Neshaminy Mall, and we were playing a show with audience of one, and there was like a group of maybe like 3 or 4 girls standing in front of me, like crying while we were playing. And then audience of one came on, and like Anthony just started like screaming in their faces, and like
I always used to know when we would go to a show and I'd be like, all right, who's playing? And like you would see who's playing, and you're like, Days Away. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be girls there. This is gonna be rad. Like, you guys always had such a good fan base of like the kids from Neshaminy that were like, you guys had such like diverse group of friends. So like it would be like all these people with like, patches and fucking safety pins through their ears and shit. And then like, all right, there's like really pretty girls here. Like fucking Days Away's playing. This is sick.
That was one benefit, because you had crossover appeal. And yeah, with like back then I was pretty much only listening to hardcore. I was wearing like XL t-shirts and cargo pants that were probably too big, and bad shoes, and so there wasn't any women looking for me.
No.
But based on looks or what I was listening to, but I was certainly looking for them.
You know what I sort of wonder is, because I never got paid for any show like that, and I was just like, damn, were they just making tons of money and I just didn't even know?
Wait, so you're telling me you, in those early days of playing those shows, you never got money?
No.
Did you never asked for any?
No.
Wow.
I was just happy to play the show.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. Well, I don't know if I should say this, but fuck it. Yeah. Like merch would be made for and sold for bands, and no money apparently ever went back to the bands. And I guess shows, like, you don't even think to ask for money because you're in high school. Like, you don't have any business acumen. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that went on.
Yeah. So whoever was putting on those shows might have been doing all right.
Let's dig up some old Days Away flyers from back in the day, and we will chase down the promoters and ask that the money be paid directly to Keith Goodwin.
I remember we played a show at the Kill Time, and I don't remember who booked it, but I remember being like, there's a lot of people here, and it was like $8 to get in. And like I started doing the math, I was like, there's like somewhere around, there's $1,000 at least just floating around this building somehow, and like none of us got paid. Nobody, not a single person. And then I guess it was about, I think I was in my sophomore year of college. I remember somebody sent me, maybe it was later than that, because it was Anthony was in Seocean, and they sent me a link to that interpunk.net or interpunk.com, and they were like, you check it out. And it was Audience of One's like the self-titled was like the number 5 CD selling on there, and it said it had sold like 2,200 units in the last like month. And I was like, 2,200 units. I'm like, holy shit, I haven't seen $1 from any of this. Like, none of us. I was like, I don't know who's getting paid for this, but it's definitely not me. Like,
yeah, where is that money going?
So we're talking about Days Away. Now we're playing heavily attended shows in Bucks County and Philadelphia area that we're not getting paid for. People are really digging it. There's a large crossover audience, which is good. So now, I hung out with you back in the day a little bit, Keith. I would see you at Colin's house and go to shows and stuff, but I lost track of you after everyone graduated high school. So what were the steps leading to that first record?
So in high school, Kenny from the Starting Line gave our music to a guy named Charlie Adams, who was working at Drive Thru Records, but he was starting his own label called We the People. And so Charlie had gotten in contact with me to see if I would want to come out with the band and record an EP for his record label. And I didn't know Charlie, but he offered to fly us all out and meet and maybe record a song.
Fly out to where?
To Southern California, Orange County.
Wow. That's incredible. Imagine that.
Yeah, he was our age, like he's my age, and he's just like, yeah, I'll fly you guys all out here.
How old were you at the time?
18.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And I thought it was cool, and I wanted to go to California, and obviously we needed a chaperone. My mom came with us, and met him. It was cool. We met a bunch of cool people out there. So we ended up going back and recording an EP with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that EP was doing, like, people from that area were liking it, and that was the Feel of It EP. And so since everybody we knew who was trying to help us was out in California, we all decided that we were going to move out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically asked our parents to help us, spot us some money, and we got a house that we all lived in, which ended up being a house where all kinds of different bands would come through and hang out because there were no parents there,
So you guys all lived in California together?
Yes.
I guess that makes sense of why I kind of lost track with you.
Yep. We graduated high school. I went to a semester at Bucks.
Yes.
So
now I remember seeing Daysaway perform at Bucks in like the rec center or something.
Yeah, I went there to stay on my dad's health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really wanted to go out to California, and I basically said to my parents, I was like, if you guys can help me do this, I will not ask you for any money for college. I'll pay myself through college if this doesn't work.
Wow.
Can I ask you this, Keith? There was one time I remember talking with Anthony, and we were. I think I was in college, and Anthony was, because he was a year below me, and he had mentioned, did you get into George Washington University?
No.
Oh, never mind. All right.
No, I did not.
I remember him saying, he was like, yeah, dude, he like gave up he had like a partial scholarship to GW. I was like, really? It's like, that's fucking insane, dude. And he's playing in a band? Like, that seems fucking ridiculous. But
no, that I got into one school. It was like Bentley College up in the Boston area.
Okay.
And I just didn't go.
Yeah, I didn't finish college either. I went to 2 semesters of Bucks and then 1 away, I think. And you know what? It just wasn't for me. And I made the right choice, because look at me now. I'm doing a podcast. It's pretty good. No,
but got the podcast going and everything. Like, look, I went to college twice, because the first time I literally went and played lacrosse, and that was it. That was pretty much all I did. So I came home and had to get another degree.
College was not for me. I failed out, and not even for anything cool. Like, well, I mean, I guess I partied a little too much, but that wasn't it. I failed meteorology, which I thought would be an easy class. Like, yeah, it's fucking raining. Like, it's bright out. Okay, but there's a lot of math involved, which I didn't realize. And I failed out, and this day forward needed someone to go on tour with them. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm done college. Yeah, I think I made the right choice, because I got to go on 2 tours with them, and those are more memorable than anything I did in college.
Yeah, I mean, touring's fun. I mean, again, my memory is pretty bad, so I kind of wish I had a better memory, but.
Well, we're gonna pull it all out of you, Keith.
Yeah, we'll get something.
We're gonna get it done. So you're living in California, right?
Yep, and we had found a manager, who was like tour managing Real Big Fish, and just seemed to know a bunch of people, and he was helping us get shows. And what's crazy was the local shows in Southern California were like 500 people or more. Like, I was used to playing, VFW halls here for like, maybe 100 people. And then there are local shows where like it was young bands playing, no big names, had tons of people. I loved it so much.
Oh man.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because it's like one of those things, though. It's like if you have that community already there and kind of in place, and people are just excited to go to shows like that, you get people that are like, yeah, you should come. We had a great time last weekend. And then that's slow build to it. But it's like one of those things that when you go to a show, like I remember when I went to shows up in Wilkes-Barre, I remember being like, oh my God, like I'm going to go to, like, there's a show up at this place. They used to have a venue called Home Base. This dude, Bob Mack, ran it. And I was like, I'm going to go see bands at Home Base. And I thought, like, we're up in Wilkes-Barre, like you're in the Poconos. Like, how many people are going to be here? Like 30 maybe? Like, dude, 250, 300 kids easy on a Thursday night. Like, it was just fucking insane. I was like, wow, there's a lot of people that come out for these shows. It was just like, I never understood why Wilkes-Barre was like a place people would stop and play. But because of the vicinity of like multiple colleges and like there was a lot of people at those shows. It was crazy.
Yeah, you gotta love that. I mean, I wasn't used to playing actual venues either. You know,
Mhm.
I think we did a battle of the bands at the TLA once before that, but these were like, you know, Chain Reaction, Troubadour, you know, actual venues with good sound systems and stuff, or decent sound systems. And it was like, you know, once we started doing it, I was like, I love this. I don't want to stop doing this.
I've played a real venue once or twice, but how do you learn, like, because I see musicians being like, oh, I need more of this in the monitors and that, and everyone really seems to know what they're doing. So how do you figure all that stuff out?
Yeah, I think everybody wants something different.
I understand.
And you have to kind of try to balance it so that other people's mixes aren't getting, you know, in the way of your mix. I mean, in
Yes.
Days Away, I remember being like, I can never hear my vocals. Like I could
Yeah.
never hear this. The band is way too loud. And it's funny, I just broke out the amp that I always used. It's this Marshall JCM 800,
Mm-hmm.
and I plugged it in. And it's no wonder I couldn't hear anything. This thing is the loudest amp I've ever heard in my life. And like I like played it a little bit. I was like, I can't do this. Like maybe like I'm just too old or something. But it's so loud. There's no reason for me to have this thing anymore because I don't want to do that. It's like not good for your ears. But this thing on like between 0 and 1 is too loud, and so then like the rest of the band has to try to get over that. You know.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
I have a JCM 100-watt JCM 800 half stack sitting 10 feet from me,
Oh,
and
so you know.
oh yeah, I haven't used it in about 2 years, but I don't want to sell it either because I'm hoping that I'll play again one day.
Yeah, I keep mine because I'm always like, well, if Days Away ever wants to play, then I have this really loud amp.
Exactly, and I always regret selling gear, so I really, really just try to never do it anymore. I've never sold something and been happy about it ever.
I have. I sold this Rickenbacker that I used to have to help pay for this Korg Triton
Mm-hmm.
keyboard, and that kind of started Days Away doing all kinds of like trippy stuff.
Yeah.
That and maybe psychedelic drugs.
Yes. Okay, so you're in California. You're playing now. Help me with the discography. We have the EP and we have the classic. Is it 2006 album Mapping an Invisible World?
Yeah, 2005.
2005. Okay, yeah.
And
Now, I remember hearing this thing for the first time and I was just like, wow. Now, here's a question for you. Why wasn't this album much bigger?
okay. Well, there's a lot of reasons. So I mean, the music is great.
Yes, that and my point in asking that is all the elements are there. It sounds great. There's catchy songs. It's accessible. It's on a great label. It just seems like everything is there. So lay it on us.
Well, we were all wild, you know, uh, pretty much smoking weed all the time, and you know, underage kids drinking, and you know, a few of us were, you know, pretty much just willing to take whatever was around and just wild. And I don't think that's good for longevity, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, So there was a lot of that, and I think we had a reputation of just being hard partying, a hard partying band.
Mm.
And then
See, I had no idea because like I would have been like, "Yo, let's get down, man," because that was my whole deal.
okay, so let me. Okay, I'll explain it to you. So when we were out in California and we had the EP, we were
Hmm.
doing well. We were playing shows with um, a bunch of drive-through bands that ended up getting really big. Something Corporate, Finch, Starting Line, other bands that weren't on drive-through, Recover. I think Midtown. There's like all those kinds of bands, like pop punk bands,
Yes.
and we started touring with them. And then once like the possibility of an actual record deal was like being talked about, I just started getting this feeling like I needed to make something like really really great,
Hmm.
like better than anything I've ever made, and I need as much help as I possibly can to do that. So that's when I asked Tim to actually join the band,
Hmm.
because I had always been jamming with him, not in Days Away, but doing all this cool, weird, trippy stuff. And I don't know if you know his. I mean, you hear his drumming on that record, but it's incredible.
Yes.
And I just wanted to have everything be at the highest level I could get it to. Um, so he ended up joining the band, and he was a very hard partying person,
Yes.
and um, before we made the record, another guy named Brian Gula joined the band who was playing keys, and him and Tim were best friends, and they were wild. I was wild with them, um, but I was sort of in the middle. Like I liked to party, but then I also like didn't want to go so huge,
You don't get too deep because you've seen it. You've seen that happen to other people before, and you're like, all right, I know what my limits are. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also went really big. So like I'm not trying to play that down because I was definitely partying along with them, but the three of us I mean Chris Rangisetta was always keeping it chill.
Hmm.
Matt Austin also. Um and I think it was like the combination of me, Tim, and Brian that kind of it got a little wild.
Did Brian play in Heinous Anus for a little bit?
He did. He
Yeah.
played bass.
Okay. Yeah. He's a really, really good bass player.
He's an incredible musician.
Yeah. He's really. I just remember watching every time I watch Heinous Anus, I was like, how are all these dudes so fucking good? Like everybody was like amazing at their instrument in that band. It was like fucking unreal.
Yeah, well, that was a reason why I wanted him to be in the band. Well, I wanted some cool keyboards in there, and at the time, I heard um, some stuff that he was making on his own with just a piano, and so I was like, oh, I'll just ask him if he'll come over and put some keys in some of these songs that we have demoed, and it ended up being really cool. We were just layering a bunch of keyboards, and once we got the record deal, I basically just I begged him to be in the band.
Yeah, everyone in that band is super talented, and with the partying, could you like dial it back? Were there like could you make the decision on a weekend to be like, no, I'm not going to drink tonight, or I'm not going to do this or that?
Yes, yes,
Now, see, that is incredible too. Again, smart decision making. The only thing that ever could stop me was lack of funds, or if I happened to be in a relationship that I cared about, I would like try to hold it together. Work too, you know?
Yeah.
yeah. I think part of it for me was I was trying to hang with Tim and Gula,
Mm-hmm.
like because I thought they were great and I love them as people. So I was trying to hang with the way they could party. I just couldn't really.
I did the same thing with Anthony. I could I would party with him on the weekends, and I would be like, all right, I gotta like chill out for like a month. Like I can't. I gotta take a gigantic break from this because I feel like there was a couple times where he came up to visit me in college, and I remember going to bed and then waking up the next morning, and he was still awake, and I was like, "Did you go to bed?" And he's like, "Yeah, for a little bit. I fell asleep for a little bit." And I'm like, holy shit, dude. How? Like, I don't understand. Like, I watched you like booze all night and party all night. And he's like, yep, that's why I'm still up. Like, you know what? That's a solid answer, sir. Fuck, man. Like, you can't argue with logic like that. Like, but it was always for me. Like, I just felt, I hate to say, like, it almost felt like psychosis. Like, I almost felt like I was kind of losing part of myself when I went that far in. I was like,
and that's when you drink more to kill that feeling, dude.
Mhm.
Come on, I got to teach you everything.
yeah, I was gonna say, I need to learn. But yeah, I think that was a large part of it. Like, when I can totally empathize with that, Keith. Like, when you're around other people that are partying that hard, you're like, there's that attempt to keep up, and then when I've been in several situations where you have that moment of like, oh no, like I took too much, I did too much, and then I'm somewhere far away from my house with strangers, and I'm like, oh no, like I'm in big trouble. Like, and
Yeah.
that panic sets in. For some people, that panic never sets in. Like, they relish that. They're like, dude, this is fucking wild. Look at how crazy this is. And it's like, don't you see how dangerous we are? Like, this is like the worst
Yeah.
situation in the world. Like,
I would forget that not everyone is me, and that people would drop like flies or end up in the hospital, or they would just be in bad shape. And I was like, oh, right. Not everyone has the same constitution as me, the profession. Because sadly, getting fucked up was like the only thing I put most of my energy into. You know, like at the age of 20, I made the decision, like, I'm going to get fucked up. That's going to be my thing.
Yeah, it's I've seen it happen
Yeah.
a bunch. I didn't have a real high tolerance with drinking,
Mm-hmm.
and I never really liked opiates.
Right.
So like it just didn't like them. And so, like, I've always been a weed smoker. In high school with all those guys, like, we definitely experimented and tried pretty much everything,
Mhm.
It's just I had a streak probably in 11th, 12th, and maybe like a year or two after high school where I just was like, still trying to hang in there. But after that, at some point I was just like, yeah, this is not gonna end well.
did you? I was gonna say, Keith, you may have had this experience. Did you find that like your perspective on like going out and like partying and stuff like that changed when you had kids?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I kind of like made a conscious effort not to do uh the stuff that we were doing in Days Away. When Days Away was ending, I was just like, okay, either I can go down that way or get my shit together.
Yeah.
And I chose to try to get my shit together. And even then I was still like, having a little bit of fun here and there, but yeah, I mean, once I had kids, it changed from, okay, it's not all about what I can do to have fun. It's about what can I do for them.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a huge thing. That's one of the reasons, I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm a AA guy and like I go to the program and I'll go to meetings and stuff like that. But I slowed down significantly when I had kids, specifically because nothing was worse than waking up hungover and having to be a parent. Because it's the worst feeling in the world, because not only are you hungover, but what makes it 10 times worse is you feel like you're disappointing your kids. Like, you're like, all right, I should be on the floor playing with you guys, like doing something, like whatever it is, like, taking you guys to the park or something like that. And I'm like in the bathroom with a cold washcloth on my head being like, okay, just breathe. Like, you're not going to throw up.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. I have a girlfriend. We've been together just under a year, and she has a 14-year-old daughter. And I've been so alone most of my life, like hyper focused on only what I want to do. And, drugs and alcohol isolated me from everybody for a long time. So it's like I stopped and pretty much picked up where I left off when I was 20 years old. So just learning to think about other people has been a challenge. Like, when I started hanging out with my girlfriend, like, I'd run downstairs and buy myself food, and like come back and eat, and she'd be like, "What's wrong? And I'd be like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh right, there's other people." Like even stuff like that, I had to learn. And like the other day, like my credit card was like, "Hey, you have to buy something with this, or we're gonna cancel it." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't want that to happen." So I'm like, "All right, what do I want?" And then I was like, "Wait, dude, get something for her."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Here, get something on this." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Just do it."
Yeah, it's definitely it throws you into a weird mindset, but I think the thing is that at least with me, like the more I lean into that, the better I feel. I feel
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
it's such a like now, like the biggest thing is like when I get up early in the mornings to go to the skate park because I want to spend the morning with my daughters when I get back. So like I'm
Yes.
done skating at 8:15, 8:30 because I want to go and play lacrosse with Eleanor and I want to go take the dog for a walk with Evie. Like I want to spend time with the baby and you know what I mean? Like it's just, it's that shift in priorities is definitely a very cool thing when you embrace it rather than try to like push it away, because the more you push it away, the more it's like, it's self-defeating. Like you really, you end up feeling like shit because you're not doing what you feel like you should be doing in the first place. And on top of that, it's like, you know, you have these little people that are just like, all they want to do is spend time with you. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's they just want to, they want your attention and they want your time. And it's like, dude, I have that in abundance. I have all like that. If I'm just okay, you have me all day. Like,
Yeah, and that's where you want to be. I don't want to go back to
oh my God.
sitting in a dark basement, getting high and watching Cheers on Netflix. Like all right, it seemed fun at the time, but now that I see what else is possible, I can't go back.
Yeah.
You know? So Keith, so we're in Days Away, we're partying hard. The LP is out. Now I remember playing a show with you guys in my first band. It was in 2006, I think, at the Khyber. And I was like, "Oh, awesome. I'm playing with Days Away. They're a good band." Because I don't know, there were aspects about the band I wasn't happy about, and we just never seemed to get on shows with bands that I wanted. So I was like, finally, a band I really dig, a good show, the Khyber, this is it. And we would sometimes attract a kind of rowdy crowd who wanted to make the show about themselves, which I didn't love. And I remember we were playing and guys were like jumping up on stage and like mooning the audience, and I just got really pissed off and like kicked one of them off the stage. And you know, and I remember afterwards someone was like, "Wow, you looked really mad. You kicked that guy off the stage." I was like, "I was mad," like, you know. But it was an awesome show, and I took any chance I could to see you guys because I really dug that LP and the band.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so like when we signed that record deal, we had a manager at the time who was managing other bands that were successful. So we were like, "Oh, this is cool," you know. And right about when that record was gonna come out, I started getting calls from people at the label, basically saying, "Listen, I can't tell you what to do here. I can tell you that I haven't heard from your manager, like about a plan of any sort. I keep asking, do you have any idea what your plan is for when this record comes out?" And that started me kind of feeling very nervous that maybe the guy representing us wasn't doing a good job, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and so I think, yeah, we were partying hard, but I think also the big learning experience there was that good management can really help a band become successful.
Yes.
With planning, and connections, but planning, and trying to get the band organized, and we just weren't. And because of those conversations, and well, maybe not because of those conversations, but after I started thinking like, oh, do we have the right representation? And we ended up getting rid of that manager shortly after the record came out. And then it was just kind of like, I don't even know how to find another manager. You know, I don't know who to call right now. And
Did you
actually,
get any kind of explanation why the guy just disappeared?
no, I all I heard from the label was he keeps saying he's gonna deliver us some, a calendar, some sort of plan, and we never get one,
Fuck.
you know. Uh, and as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old who hasn't really taken any business seriously. It was just like, all right, I'm going to make the coolest thing I can. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to play shows. And this is living the rock and roll dream. And, there's so much more to it that I wasn't thinking about. And when that stuff started happening, after we got rid of him, the label was like, well, we can't micromanage you guys. You guys need to find somebody who can, help you guys. And it was like a good long year that we didn't have any management, and it just everything was just going wrong,
Hmm.
um and we tried to keep going, and we tried to you know uh play the best shows that we could and hit up friends for tours, and um eventually it was just like, oh, we need a management or this is not going to work. We weren't making a ton of money, and we were going away on tour for months at a time and coming back with a couple $100 each, which is not sustainable. And
Right.
uh, and I think part of that is because we didn't have anybody guiding us, trying to help us get really good merchandise and setting us up and encouraging us to make good business decisions on the road.
Hmm.
I think that's one of those things that as a 20-year-old, you don't have that, because even just thinking about this, like I can look back at now as an adult, but like just thinking about like how much money is tied up in the band in general, like between merch, all of the stuff that you guys have in terms of your musical, you have a $500,000 plus business that you are supposed to be running, and there's nobody at the helm. Like,
Yeah.
and it's scary to think, because if you don't get the right management, you could have someone that's taking advantage of you. You could have someone that's you're doing what happened to you guys, which is just not mismanaging you and being like, yeah, we'll kind of fly by the seat of your pants shit. And it's like, dude, this isn't fucking working.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the last thing you want to hear is like, I want to make art. And then somebody be like, yeah, there's also a ton of commerce involved in this, so you better wrap your head around that, like, right the fuck now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really hard, especially as a 20-year-old. Like, that's a horrific thing to think, because you think it's all like, oh, this is just us playing music and having a great time, and then
When I was 21, the only thing I was thinking about was going to the Great American Diner and drinking 17 Long Island iced teas and like trying to score drugs.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And there was other shit I wanted to do, but there was not much of a chance of it happening.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely stressful for me because I was the one always kind of dealing with people outside of the band,
Yeah.
the band leader or whatever. So, um, and I just didn't know what to do. I felt kind of lost, and I didn't know other managers. And I think at that point, because we had a sort of reputation for being hard partying, a hard partying group of dudes, finding a good manager was not easy for us. And then what ended up happening was I got asked to do those Sound of Animals fighting shows,
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
and Kathy Pello was there, who runs Sargent House, and she basically saved me
Oh, dude, that's
because she was just like, "Hey, I'll manage you guys," and I was just like, "Please," and just uh, um, and she was such an awesome manager, and she loves everything that she works on, and like with a passion, and
Mhm.
just has great ideas and keeps it real, and just like it was just awesome. And at that point, the band was already like hurt badly. So we tried to hang in there. We made an EP with her. But shortly after that, it's just, I think Brian Gula was like, I got to go back to college. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm just going to be done then.
And around what year was that?
2007.
Well, so that was it.
Yeah, so it was a lot of, grinding in between then.
Yeah.
2005 when the record came out, and we just tried to tour and, make it work by playing shows, and it wasn't going.
So the band is done. You're still living in California, yes?
No, actually, after the first nationwide tour we did,
Mm-hmm.
we all kind of said, let's move back home because why pay, X amount of money for this house when we're not planning on being here.
Right.
So we all moved home. We were in California for almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how quick it happened. And then we all moved home and just kind of stayed on the road for a few years.
Oh, okay.
And that's when I moved to South Philly, when we moved home.
So what comes after that? Now, did you think like I want to keep doing music or I want to go back to school? What was the plan?
Well, Kathy started seeing that everything was kind of falling apart. So she started encouraging me to do like a solo acoustic thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I recorded an acoustic version of God and Mars.
Mm-hmm.
I love that song so much.
Yes.
That's the opening track on Mapping.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so she was encouraging me to do that, but I wasn't really confident in myself being like a solo artist.
Mm-hmm.
But I had met Dan Schwartz, who was in Good Old War. I had met him in the city, and I think it was Tim was playing in this band, Unlikely Cowboy, and they asked me to record some acoustic demos for him. And I heard his guitar playing. I was like, that's really good. I don't know anybody who plays acoustic like that, And so when she was trying to get me to do something like that, I was like, well, I don't really want to do that, but I do know a guy that I could, start making some music with that would be acoustic and, make me feel a little bit more confident, get in front of people. And obviously I just have like a lot of love for Tim Arnold. He's like my brother. And so I wanted him to, I didn't want to just bail on him. So I asked him to come too. So Kathy basically was like, I'll help you do whatever you want to do, So that started Good Old War. I wrote a bunch of songs, got together with Dan. He had a bunch of songs, and we worked it out. And basically, I went into it saying, listen, we're going to do the opposite. There's going to be like little party, very little partying. We're going to be very agreeable and easy to work with. And, so when we go on tour, people like us and they want to take us on tour again or recommend us, to other people. And so we basically set out to do the opposite of what Daysaway did.
That's another smart decision. See, there you go. Because, I've been in bands where there was hard partying. I've been in bands where I'm like puking in a trash can between songs. And then I've been in bands where I had my shit together, but I was like trying to control everything and orchestrate everything. And, like I've come to a point now where I'm not puking in trash cans anymore. And I don't feel the need to try to control everything necessarily. Like Tommy and I just had a conversation recently with this podcast. Like, we don't want anything to get in the way of the friendship, and we want this to be fun. And if any of those two things aren't happening, then that's going to be it.
But we also have to have standards. Like, we also have to make sure that we're producing every week. We're coming in ready. Like, and it's a lot of times, like, especially with us, like the big thing that we've been doing since, we started this is we're consistent. Like, we are consistently doing what we need to do. And I think a large part of like what Keith and I got into on last week's episode was like, look, like there's sometimes where like the sound sounds like shit on my end because and it was like literally like, you know, there was noise in the background or there's something happening or you know, and it was just this thing that like it made Keith's life a living nightmare to have to fucking edit something that would, you know, normally take 3-4 hours is now taking 7, 8, 9, 10 hours because he's got to like isolate my track every single time because there's this awful noise in the background when I'm not speaking. And it's like to be able to be honest with people and say like, look, this is making a problem for us. I think is one of the reasons that we've maintained the friendship is because we're like, look, dude, this is cool that we're doing this and we're having fun. But at the same time, like we have to do that. Like people are like, you know, paying attention. Like, so like we got to fucking make sure it's, and Keith was like super honest about it. It was like, look, we got to make sure it's consistent. And when you're coming in and it's not ready and there's too many problems, it's like, we got to get our shit together. Meaning Tommy, get your shit together.
Man, I feel like an asshole now. Oh, man.
No. Because it's the reality of it. Is like, you know, like there was an entire episode where like I, you know, because I was using the Apple headphones and I was using the mic that's on there, like I hadn't shaved in like a week, so it's like scratching the whole time up against the foot. You know what I mean? Like it's stupid little shit like that I'm just not even paying attention to. But like when Keith goes to do all the editing, it's like this is a nightmare for him. Like it's so shitty on my part, but like the fact that we're friends, he was able to come up to me and be like, dude, this is making it really hard. Like we need to fix this. So,
but it's not just you, because I've had mic problems before. And on a more positive note, I checked the calendar today. We've been weekly since March 9th.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can you believe that, Keith?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I bit off more. Well, I bit off a lot, not more than I can chew, but I wanted to make this thing weekly because I don't know. I like podcasts because, you know, when I had no friends and I was just completely isolated and, you know, in the throes of addiction and all that stuff, you know, podcasts were like, they were my friends. Like it was like having company there. And I want this show to be that kind of thing too. So we check in every week. We have guests and friends and conversations every week. And it's like a hangout.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's smart. I think if anybody's going to start a podcast and not do it that way, their chances of having it succeed are not as great.
Exactly. It's got to be consistent. You know exactly when this thing is coming. And that's it. We're going to be there. Unless, I don't know, I lose my voice or something.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Good Old War. When did the first album come out?
2008. Basically, as soon as Days Away ended, I went straight to work trying to get this thing to happen.
Yeah.
And Anthony actually was a big help because as soon as we started doing this, he asked us to come help with Avalon. Oh, yeah. And so we played a lot of the music on Avalon. And then he asked us to come on tour as Good Old War opening and playing as his band. And after that, we had a built-in fan base, you know, few hundred people coming out to every show. And that definitely kickstarted Good Old War.
Oh, that's awesome.
I remember that was the last time I ran into you before the skate park, Keith, was there's a really shitty, blurry picture. I should find it. We could put it up on the Instagram post of you and I at Anthony's wedding. It is a horrific one. Like you can see both of us are not in good shape at that point. It's like one of those really obvious ones. I'm like, oh boy.
We got to find that picture.
I have it. It's definitely on my hard drive for sure. Cause I remember looking through it and that was when I was good about organizing photos before we had kids. And there's literally a folder. I'll find it. That's called Anthony's wedding. And I remember I showed up and I was like, all right, this is gonna be fun. And we're having a good time. And I had so much to drink.
So Keith, Tommy told a story on this show that he was at that wedding and he didn't remember who you were. Well, what do you think of that?
Well, it's sad a little bit, but I remember I didn't recognize him because I remembered you being like a real like kind of skinny looking like real like small dude, and
right?
you were like looking all jacked.
Yeah.
Like, what? You're Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy looks like a cop now. Like if he like what you imagine a stereotypical cop to look like.
100%. And it's
Yeah.
and it's like literally, and I teach in Trenton, and one of the kids was a new transfer student, and he was like, "Hey, I know you," and I was like, "No, I'm hardly ever like have you been to the school before?" And he's like, "No. You work for the community outreach thing." I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, you do. Like, and they're like, one of the girls stepped in and was like, yeah, there's a guy who's like one of they call them interrupters, like the people that get involved with like the gang task force. And apparently he looks exactly like me. She's like, no, that's some other bald jacked up dude. I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably, yeah, I guess I could totally see that. And then the girl was like, yeah, you look exactly like him though. Like she's like, if I didn't know you from being like a math teacher here, like I would definitely think like that's you. Oh really? Damn,
You're a cop.
yeah.
So
100%.
one more revelation that took place while we were setting up. Keith, are you ready for this? Tommy said he buys his clothes at Costco. Now, first of all, I didn't even know they had clothing at Costco. And second of all, Tommy,
it's the whole middle section of the place.
Tommy, what are you doing?
I don't care. I've always been a like, khakis and plain t-shirt kind of guy. I guess I'm feeding into this cop thing. Like I don't like this.
Yeah, because my tie-in here is even when like you look like you're dressing like an undercover cop, like you're trying to assimilate into the crowd.
Yeah, I have had that happen a couple times where like I'll be at the skate park in the morning and somebody will be like, "Wow, I didn't think you could actually skate." I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "You just don't look like a skateboarder." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize."
And here I'm making fun of you, but like I've been wearing the same black thermal shirt for like 18 days in a row.
You know what though? I think the other thing is with like I became like I don't know if this is like kind of plays into it, but like I became super conscientious about spending money.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I was like, well, I used to buy like jeans from like skateboarding companies and stuff like that. And anybody who's bought skateboarding clothes, like a pair of jeans are going to run you 75, 80 bucks and they fall apart just like the same jeans you get at fucking Walmart. Like they get shredded, they get ripped up. There's no difference in anything. And I think I gave up that, like, I need to look cool.
Yeah. No, that's understandable because you have a family too. But every couple years, I'll spend like a couple grand on clothing, and then that'll be it till 2 or 3 years later. That's kind of my cycle. What about you, Keith? What are your go-to designers?
Okay, so I don't think I actually last weekend or the weekend before that was the first time I put actual pants on in like 2 years.
Really?
I like wearing sweats all the time.
Oh, wow.
Alternative apparel sweats. And one of the perks of being in a band is sometimes you get free stuff from brands like alternative apparel.
There you go.
Oh, that's great. You probably get... Now, here's a band ethics question. If you're on tour, I don't know how I learned this behavior, but back in the day, I would like ask the other bands on tour if I could get a shirt, and I would maybe offer them one of the shirts I was selling. Is that okay? Or do we look down on that?
No, that's okay.
Okay, good. Because I always think about random shit I did 15 years ago, and I get embarrassed, and that's one of them.
No, that's like a really fun part about connecting with other bands is you can share merchandise and stuff. Everybody wants a fresh shirt every once in a while on tour.
That's good. Okay. So let's talk more about Good Old War. Now, you're touring with Anthony Green, right? You're doing your own thing and opening, and that's awesome. And tying back to Bucks County and the Northeast scene, that's another thing that I really love is just all the connections, all the great bands that come out. I mean, you've got This Day Forward, you've got Days Away, you've got Audience of One. Keith, you hooked up Anthony with Seosin, right?
I was there, but it's kind of a funny story. At that house in California, the Bo was over the house with other friends, and a buddy of ours was out visiting from here. This guy Mike Dufresne, and Bo was asking if we knew any singers, and I had the CDs I had brought with me were Halfway to Holland, Heinous Anus, and Audience of One, I think. Like were like the local ones that I had in my CD booklet. And so I was like, Mike Dufresne brought up Anthony, and I had it, so we started playing it for him, and he was loving it. And we stopped, and he's like, "This is awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, I wouldn't have this guy be your singer." And he's like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, because as long as I've known him, every time I see him, he's like in a new band. He quit that other band because he like doesn't like the guys in the band or something like that. Like he just always seemed like, oh, fuck those guys. I started a different band. I'm in a different band now."
Yeah.
So I was like, basically like, yeah, he will quit your band. It's just, yeah, no, you don't want that guy. And he's the best. Like he's definitely the most entertaining. He has a great voice and the best lyrics. And like hands down, my favorite out of everybody in this area, growing up.
Yeah.
But he'll quit your band. And so he didn't listen to me, which is awesome. And I'm so happy he didn't listen to me. But then Anthony quit his band. So I was like, nah,
yeah. That is incredible.
That's such an accurate depiction of him, though. Because he would just be like, I remember him starting bands. Like when I was in college, I'd be like, "What are you doing right now?" And he'd be like, "Oh, I'm with these guys, but fuck them." And I'm like, "Really? Like you only like practice with them like 3 times?" He's like, "Yeah, fuck those dudes. I don't fucking care." And I'm like,
yeah, because he was in audience. He was in Audience of One. Then suddenly he was in that band Jeer at Rome with Luke and Mike. And then all of a sudden he was out of that band, and then he was in Zola for a minute,
and then High and Driving.
Timmy,
I think Timmy played drums on High and Driving.
He did,
because that's the one time I remember when Anthony played it for me. I was like, I can't find the drum beat, like because Timmy's so good, and it's just it's just like holy shit, like I can't even follow along with it. It's so fucking awesome. If you don't know that song, like go look up High and Driving, Baby Girl. The fucking drumming on that is unbelievable.
It's very cool.
So Keith, did Bo ever come back and be like, "You were right, I was wrong"?
No, I think everybody's happy that he didn't. Yeah, or that he did get Anthony out there, because they made really great music, and then Anthony made a lot of really great music after that. So
right, and the Seosin, that first EP is classic, and all the other songs that leak out, like they just posted another one, Mookie's Last Christmas, and like they're awesome. Like they're all really good.
Yeah. So you know what the joke is on Mookie's Last Christmas?
What?
It's so Anthony had, when we were growing up, Anthony had a Jack Russell Terrier named Mookie. The running joke at Anthony's house was Anthony's older brother, Michael, has a really, really dry, sarcastic sense of humor. And he would make toasts at Christmas dinner that were like wildly inappropriate. So like I remember, because I had like my family all split on Christmas. So Christmas Eve was the big thing at my house. So Christmas Day, I would sometimes go to Anthony's house. And I remember Anthony's house on Christmas Day, his grandmother, Anthony's mom, his whole family is sitting around the dinner table. And Anthony's brother stands up with a glass of wine and goes, "I just want to make a cheer right now. This like just recognize, everybody's here and we're family," and this really heartfelt thing. And it keeps going on and on. He goes, "All right, everybody clink your glasses now for it's Nan's last Christmas." And his grandmother is sitting at the fucking table. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, and she's like looking around, like confused, like what is happening right now? And then one of the other toasts was, this is Mookie's, like that became the running joke. It's Mookie's last Christmas, because that dog lived till I think he was 21 years old.
Whoa.
So, yeah. So it became one of the running jokes was that let's make a toast for Mookie's last Christmas, because the dog's going to die.
So, but what I was saying, just the number of connections. You got This Day Forward, you got Audience of One, you got Days Away, Good Old War forms and joins forces with Anthony, Colin's brother was in Days Away. Anthony starts Circus Survive with Colin. Everyone's working together. It's just, the number of great musicians who came from the area and continue to work together is just astounding. Now, Keith, you said you did some shows with Sound of Animals Fighting. Were you on some of the original shows back in the day?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I sang. I had a song on the album Lover the Lord Has Left Us.
Mm-hmm.
And I sang some of the harmonies on some of Anthony's songs. So when they went to go do the shows, I think he really just was pushing for me to be there, like sort of as support, like a friend to be there, and also to kind of take care of like backup vocals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I sang my song and I sang backup vocals for some of his songs.
So were you on stage the whole time?
No, I was on stage for like 4 songs.
Okay, because I was going to say, if you're there the whole time, it would be hard to figure out what to do when you're not singing.
What mask did you wear?
I did not wear a mask.
Oh, okay.
But I was at the shows. That first DVD that they made, those were the shows I was at.
And you teamed up with them once again, right? When they played some shows, I think 2 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah. So how was that?
It's the best.
Yeah.
I love Days Away did some touring with the RX Bandits, and there's a bunch of members from that band and Sound of Animals Fighting. Obviously, Anthony's like one of my best friends, and I love spending time with him. Charlie Adams, who helped Days Away get off the ground, he was there managing the band, so that was great to be with him. I just love those guys, and it's like so fun and positive, and nobody's like, it's not when you're in a band with people and you do it all the time and you grind and tour all over the place all the time, you kind of get like, you start to get to know everybody really well, and you're not sure about some people, or there's drama, or there's business that you got to take care of. But that's always just straight up fun, where you're just going to play a show. The show's awesome and rocking, and you go do it again. And then the first couple shows, I think it was like a week of shows or something, and then this last one was like a couple weekends or a few weekends. I think it was a month, every weekend for a month. And at the end, it's like, oh man, I wish we could do that a lot more.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I was supposed to go to one of those shows, but I was traveling, and actually the guy still owes me money for the ticket, so I'm going to track him down.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's one thing we're going to get done on this podcast.
Get paid.
That's right.
Trying to get paid.
So, there's another new band that you have. I think Anthony is a part of that too, right?
The Found Wild.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Now, I think you should see like how many bands you can form with Anthony and members of Good Old War and like get on one show.
Yeah, we did that. We did a whole tour where it was Found Wild, Good Old War, and Anthony Green. Played all night.
And then like throw Circus Survive on there, and then like a Days Away reunion.
Yeah, I would love that.
Dude, I would so go to that.
That'd be so cool.
Speaking of, is there ever a chance of a Days Away show happening again?
Yeah, I think it should. I think about it a lot. I actually wanted to do it on my birthday this year, but COVID happened.
Oh.
So did you have anything else in the pipeline before the virus hit?
No, I just was working. I've just been working on stuff with Rob at the shed, and that kind of got put on hold for months, and we just started up again a few weeks ago.
Did you have to get a COVID test?
No, but I still wear a mask over there. And so does he. Just because I did get a COVID test at some point, but not to play music.
Did you get the nasal test?
Yeah.
Yo, it's messed up, isn't it? Now, for someone who's put a lot of things up his nose, never quite that far.
Yeah.
It really hurt.
Yeah, it was rough.
All right, so you're working on music with Rob. There might be a Days Away show again one day. That's good news. Now, what are you thinking? Would it be like a tour or just a show, or do you think you'd ever do another record?
Well, I was thinking it would just be a show or two,
Yeah,
like on the East Coast, maybe Philly and New York. And then if those went well, possibly Southern California.
that's
Um,
good.
and that would be, I just think it would be fun. I don't really want to do it to like tour and, make money from it. I just kind of want to, if we can all like have a bunch of fun playing shows and get people out to it, that would be, um, it would just be fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way to do it. You do a couple shows and then that's it.
Yeah. If we could get shows happening in Southern California and then just all be in a house and hang out and, go to the beach, and that would be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, what else is going on? What do you have coming up?
Yeah, I don't really have anything planned. I'm just trying to stay creative over here and, help other people with their music too. I've been writing with other people and producing some stuff for other people. But yeah, no touring plans. Definitely no touring plans. And yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's the thing because tours keep getting rescheduled and they're just getting canceled at this point. And it's the frustrating thing with work too because I'm on these sales calls and they're like, figure out a specific plan of what we're going to do, and I'm like, I don't know, like, and I can't say I don't know, but it's like 3 months from now everything could be shut down again. Like I don't know. You just got to come up with a plan and hope it works. And we were talking to Brendan from Circa, and he said that you got to, or I'm sorry, we were talking to Steve Clifford from Circa, and he says that you got to reschedule the tour so that you can hold the venue dates because there's other bands that want to come through, and then you know then it gets canceled again because the virus is still happening, and who knows when things are actually going to open back up again.
Yeah, it's funny is that I guess right after the last tour Good Old War did, which is like 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
um, maybe even longer, we just decided we were going to stop playing for a little while. And since then, I just kind of I don't really know what I'm going to do next,
Yeah.
but I've been staying busy and, making money, still making music. So, things have been going okay, but I don't really know like when I'm going to release something, when I'm going to play any shows. I'm always psyched whenever Anthony has something coming up because that gives me something to do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like I'm sort of used to being in positions where I don't know what's going to happen next, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I'm not really worried about it.
Wow, that sounds terrifying to me because based on my past, I need stability. I need to know exactly what's happening. Hence my hour by hour schedule, and I think that's why I never really dove both feet into the world of music and the arts because I don't know. I've had to fend for myself and make every dollar count. And I also used to have to spend every dollar on getting fucked up. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of where all my money and energy went. So it's a lot of factors. Now, when you produce bands, are you actually like working with them and you're like, hey, maybe try this instead?
Yeah. I mean, I've been working with these girls. It's like a acoustic singer-songwriter duo called Lulanas. And um I just help them kind of get the songs together. And then recently, because nobody's really people haven't really been getting together, we've just been sending things back and forth, um, through the internet, and I'll edit whatever they record at their house, and I'll find other musicians to play on it, and play some stuff on there myself, and just pretty much just get a recording done. You know.
Let's say you're right. If they do this, it's going to work better for them. Do they just refuse to do it and you'll have to do it their way?
Yeah. I mean, but there's ways, where you can kind of come up with a compromise though, so that happens, I'd say more often than, just settling for something you don't think is good.
Right.
Cause because of the position I've been in Days Away and in Good Old War, where, um, I have been in a position where I could make a lot of the final decisions on things, I've kind of just I'm like I'll push things until they get done. Like so if
Right.
somebody's just like, nah, I don't know, like, well, no, let's just try it, and I'll try to take it as far as I can. But when it's somebody else's music, there's only so far you can push it until you're like, okay, that's cool. Let's just do that.
Right. Plus, they're paying you. I mean, if they really are dead set on something, I guess you kind of have to just go with what they say.
Yeah, but the thing is, you just gotta work with people that you like really, like and trust, and you just can add to whatever they're doing, and usually whatever they're doing is you want it to come from them and not from me.
Right.
But I
Right.
can steer them in certain directions and
I
have
would
them.
I would totally be bad at that because I would just be like, all right, you guys want to ruin it? All right, cool. Let's take this one. Take one. Bad take. Let's go.
Yeah, well, with them, like, because it's really sweet, singer songwriter kind of stuff. Um, and so, like, with them, there were, like, maybe a few lines here and there where I'd have to be like, well, if I heard that, it would be like just, yeah, I would like, it's not my style. You know what I mean? So if I think communication, like going back to you guys talking about how you got to get the podcast done, if as long as you can communicate with people and you're not shy about it and you say how you feel, you'll end up making something great. But if you start to shy away from stuff that you believe will make a song better or a performance better, the music will suffer. So I think it's a lot of it has to do with just having a conversation.
Absolutely. And being open to feedback as well. As long as it's not contentious and people aren't assholes about it, it's certainly possible. Like when I was in the studio doing my EP with Richie, actually, who recorded it, there was one song where I was singing in a range that I just couldn't do. you know,
Hmm.
like I thought I could do it, and then I was in the studio and I was like, "This isn't working, is it?" And he's like, "Well, try this." And then I tried something else, and that worked. So,
Yeah, you know what? When we did Mapping Invisible World with Neil,
hmm
it was the first time I had somebody telling me to change what I was doing, and it made me feel really strange. Like I didn't like it, but I also didn't want to be, just saying no.
hmm
So it felt weird having somebody say, "Well, this doesn't really make much sense," or the melody could be better here. When I was sitting there thinking, like, no, this is like the way I feel, and that's what I wanted to say. But when and I felt crazy about it, but Neil had such a great way of communicating with me.
hmm
He's very calm, a super smart guy, and never got upset, never got heated, um, and just was good at explaining why he thought something could change, and I would try it. And that album is what it is because he was so good at that. And um, I learned from there not to be so precious about my ideas and to definitely be open to everybody else's ideas, everybody else who's involved, because it can be better.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's great to have a producer on your side who's willing to help you change and grow. Do you still work with producers today? Like if you're doing a new Good Old War album, will you have someone giving you input like that?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the last Good Old War EP that we did, we made ourselves, and I pretty much did all like the engineering and stuff. Dan did some, and I'd put like all the tracks together, and um, just did a lot of work, right? But there wasn't that person that was once removed from the process to sit back and say, no, you should probably do this or that. So it was just the three of us, like, kind of trying to work it out to a certain point. And it's nice to have somebody outside of that equation to be, sort of not making the final decision, but somebody that you trust, that when they say you should just do this, then you go, okay, so that's the tiebreaker right there.
Yeah, it's like the challenge of the director also starring in the film. Like, am I doing too many takes? Is this right? Is it not too few?
Yeah, or is his idea cool, or should it be this way or that? It's just there's a lot, and I like producing my own stuff. I'll take way too long to do it. That's another problem.
Yes.
But yeah, I like working with producers. Um, just I just like collaborating with people. Like I like taking ideas to somebody, and having them have opinions on it and hearing them out and trying different things and seeing what's the best combination.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. Like this podcast, I like collaborating with people musically because it's hard. I can write a verse and a chorus pretty easily, but I suck at bridges, like I need help putting together the other pieces of the song. And like with this podcast, I don't know, I'm not a huge talker. I'm pretty introverted, and Tommy's the other piece of that puzzle. Like Tommy can talk forever.
I can
And
talk about nothing too.
yeah, like he can go, and him being here makes it so much more comfortable for me. And it sounded similar to like Anthony having you out there for the sounds of animals fighting. It's just like it's a friend here to back me up and to help me.
Yep. Yeah. It's nice. That's why I always love working with Tim, because it's just always so positive. We're just like psyched about whatever ideas we're throwing out there, and ideas are always going to either they're going to stick or they're just not going to work. But it's fun when you can just bounce these things off of somebody else, and when you hear the final product, you're like, yes, this is awesome. This is it.
Yes. And I have to ask because I'm always curious about this. It sounds like various members of Days Away were hard partying at different points. Did everyone settle down? Did people kind of get married and just calm down as they got older? Because me, I never calmed down. There were periods where it would be okay, but things just got worse and worse to the point that I had to really seek help and turn things around and just completely stop everything. So, and if you can't speak on behalf of other people, just tell us your experience.
My experience, with all the partying, is I feel like I am fairly experienced, and maybe I didn't really get too far out of control, but yeah, definitely, I know I don't know if I can speak for Tim, but when we started Good Old War and we were saying, hey, this is going to be the opposite of what Days Away was doing, and he was like, yeah, sure,
Mm-hmm.
and then the first time we went to go record music, he was too messed up to play, and so that started like that. And for a good 8 years, I remember like I was dabbling in, taking a Xanax here and there. And anytime I'd be like, yo, you need to chill out, Tim, he'd be like, well, you take a Xanax every now and then, And so there was like no way I could be like, okay, so I just stopped, So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do any of that. So I can try to get you to not do it. And for like 8 years, I tried to help him. I tried to help him manage his addiction. And it was like, it got really bad. And eventually I had to tell his family, because he had a daughter, and that didn't stop him. And it was scaring me,
Right.
and he was in and out of the band, and it just, at some point I was like, you know what? I don't even care if he doesn't want to talk to me after this. Like, his family needs to know that he's, what he's up to, so somebody can help, him and his daughter,
Yeah.
because I can't. I tried for a long, and that was like a very long learning experience of, I can't help, if somebody has an addiction problem, if they don't want to get better, they won't, and you can try to like steer them in, try to get them to not do things, or they'll just find a way to do it behind your back, So it's like, I think the main thing that I picked up from that whole thing was, if there's a problem, you need to be vocal about it, and you need to try to get everybody who loves that person to try to, talk some sense into them, not just like, the few people who they already know how to push around.
Right. So yeah, and that was my experience too. Nothing was going to stop me. Nothing. And I would have been the same way if I had kids. I would have been, going to get it. I'd be doing it. I'd be seeking it out. Like nothing was going to stop me, and nothing did. I kept up appearances at work to make sure I could afford it. I tried to make sure everything was in place so that the party would never stop, and that's kind of the way it went. So how's Tim doing now?
He's great. I think good. He's got a few years sober. I'm not sure exactly how many years, but a bunch of years. And I remember when he got sober, he was just kind of like, I don't even know how you're still my friend after all that. But when you when you love somebody like that, it's like I understand. I was there, so I saw it when he was ill.
Yeah.
And it was sad, but you got to stick by people. And I'm sorry that I didn't say something to his family earlier.
That's hard though, because if anyone did that to me, I would have cut them out. In fact, I did. Like friends would say, like, that's the funny thing about this thing. Like you were talking about, like, that's like the addict mindset, because he's going crazy, but he's like, but you take a Xanax. Like I remember hanging out with ex-girlfriends, and I'd be all fucked. I'd be doing drugs with them, and they'd be like, you have a problem. And I'd be like, we're both doing it. Like, what do you...
I just watched you do the same drugs as me.
Yeah, we bought them together. What are you talking about? But like, yeah, but yeah, I've had that experience too, where friends were like, oh, he's really messed up. And I cut them out completely, because in my mind, I had it all together. Yeah. And in my mind, people did not see me as an addict. So for that illusion to be broken was not cool. And, if anyone had said anything to my family, well, they knew anyway, but I don't know. I'm guessing that would have made me mad as well. But yeah, you can't stop until you want to stop. And thankfully, myself, Tim, and others lived to be able to get our act together. And I mean, shit, so many people I know have died. Friends, acquaintances, family members, just people I know. Another guy I met a couple times just died recently. It sucks.
I don't know. I started towards the end there, started feeling like I don't want to find him in a hotel room dead. Yeah. Like I just don't want to. Like I can't. When I knew he was doing it, and it was like he was saying he wasn't, it was just kind of like, I can't do that. I can't do it. It's not happening anymore. But yeah, it's hard. It's definitely a hard thing to deal with. But I feel for you or anybody who has dealt with it, or family members, because it's definitely not easy to navigate.
Not at all. And to our listeners, I put the offer out there again. If you're struggling and you need help, email me and I'll tell you what worked for me, and maybe it'll help you. Who knows? I didn't know where to look. I didn't know what to do. It took me a long time and a lot of trial and error, and just being out there by myself to figure out something that worked. So if I can help anybody else, I'm more than happy to.
Keith, I remember years of you just being like, I'm trying this, I'm trying like, between therapists, psychologists, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's like, okay, well, the thing is like, I've never had to go through anything like that in terms of like that. Cause I know one of the biggest things is like that withdrawal of like, that's what stops people from completely stopping, is like, I know that what I'm going to put myself through for the next 7 to 10 days is going to be a nightmare.
Well, that's bad, but the obsession to continue doing it, despite knowing that it's horrible for you, is the hard part. And that's the real hard thing to manage.
This is, I actually was listening to it the other day, but Artie Lang was talking about it on something. I don't remember what it was, but he was saying like, the thing that kept him like really struggling with addiction was he's like, after I got clean and he's like, I was okay. He's like, then you have to deal with the reason you were using in the first fucking place. Like, which is, sometimes really serious emotional trauma. And he's like, he's like, that's what I had to then, he's like, now, not only like, he's like, the way I dealt with it before was I wasn't sober. He's like, now I'm not, I'm sober and I got to deal with this shit. Like, he's like, that's the worst part is because you look at it and go, holy shit, this is why I use in the first place is I was trying to get the fuck away from this, whatever that is. But he's like, that's the part that keeps, people go like, oh, I had to go through detox and this, that, and the other. And then like, I felt like shit, but like, that's when the really, as my understanding is like, that's when the really hard work starts. Like, and that's,
yes. And it is work. The thing I didn't realize is I thought you just stopped and then that's it. You just have to stop by yourself and live your sad life alone. But, if you want to learn to be a mechanic, you can go to a trade school and learn how to be a mechanic. You want to learn how to be a musician, you can contact Keith Goodwin and he'll help you produce a record if he likes you. You want to get an education, you can go to college. You want to learn to stop abusing drugs and alcohol. There are skills you can learn to be able to manage your life without them. There's answers out there for everything. Yeah. You just got to find the system that works for you.
Yep. That was well said, man. Fuck. That was a great analogy. No, I'm being serious. That was a great analogy because what people really need to understand is that it's possible, but you need to be equipped. You need to be prepped, and you need to know what to do and where to turn because those.
Yeah, I remember Tim went into sober living after he went through rehab, and he started working at a deli, and he got a raise. And he was like, for the first time, like, oh, I can actually do, other things and I can be good at it, And I remember him telling me that, like, he was like psyched about it and I was psyched for him. But it's little things like that where it's just like, you don't think about yourself in that kind of way until you actually go and do other things.
Man.
Right. Like you have to learn how to live for the first time. I never developed people skills, coping skills, communication skills, a lot of that stuff. So a lot of it, I'm figuring it out now. And it's been a wild ride, but I love it. Because a lot of good things have come out of it too. Relationship, podcast, new friendships. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And now I end this public service announcement. And one more, I'm going to ask you one more question. Now, you've been in the music business a while, different bands, different touring. Have you ever met somebody that it was just mind-blowing? You're like, oh, man, I can't believe I'm meeting this person.
Yeah, I met Rivers Cuomo.
Oh, really? Tell us about that.
It was really quick, but we played a show in Los Angeles, and I was friends with someone who worked at Geffen, and we were playing, and she just grabbed me, and she's like, hey, come backstage. And I went back and went outside, and Rivers was in a car with David Geffen, and she's like, meet Rivers. And I was like, oh, hey.
Wow.
How you doing? Yeah, and it was quick, but it was just kind of like, I love Weezer, so that was like, pretty mind-blowing. Also, a weird thing about Good Old War was we got to start playing shows in a totally different genre of music, right? So I found myself on tour with Alison Krauss in Union Station, like the best bluegrass band, best bluegrass artists like alive, and that was pretty magical hanging with them and playing music with them. Some of them came and played some songs with us during the set, and so stuff like that. We toured with Brandi Carlile, and I think she's amazing, but all kinds of stuff that I never would have imagined, I would have ended up doing, like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, getting to meet heroes and connect with other artists, that's a great part of this whole thing too. for you with touring and for us doing this because, like I said in other episodes, Tommy and I probably aren't going to be touring musicians. I think so.
I can say definitively. I can say that definitively. I'm bad at guitar now.
Yeah.
I don't have an ear for music anymore, and on top of that, the podcast and teaching takes up the majority of my time. So starting a band is not going to happen.
So getting to do this podcast, we get to connect with artists we love, and if we discover a new band, sometimes we'll ask them to come on, and they'll say yes, and that's cool. Well, Keith, we want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great to reconnect again, and I hope to see you in real life again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Tommy.
Keith, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was awesome to get to reconnect with you, and we'll hopefully when touring becomes a thing again, we'll reconnect and hang out, man.
Thanks, guys.
There you have it, folks. Keith Goodwin.
That was awesome.
That was good. Win. No, it was awesome to have him on the show. I like talking to any artist that we love, but I especially like talking to friends of ours that I haven't spoken to in a long time.
Yeah, and he's such a nice dude. He's so down to earth and so genuine. He's really the nice part is, especially when you talk to people like that, is like you get the ins and outs of a story, but you also get like what they really feel about it. Like that was cool for him to be like, look, there was times when we were in the band where shit just wasn't going well. Like management was just not working for us, and like we bounced around for a while. You don't get that kind of honesty from some people because they want to project an image and they want to seem like they have their shit together all the time. When the reality is, it's like most of us are fucking grasping at straws. We're trying to fucking figure it out as we go along anyway. So.
Yeah, and I didn't know those guys partied as much as they did. I would have liked to have partied with them. And it's just good to hear about like the ins and outs of being in a band and touring and all that stuff. Because I've been in bands, but I've never toured. I've never been on that level. I like to hear about all that stuff.
It's fun to hear it, but it's also like, something Keith didn't touch on that almost everybody does when they talk about touring, the drudgery. He didn't even say one thing about that. He was just talking about how it was like a good time. I was like, accentuate the positive. I dig that. Like, because
he mentioned he's just used to not knowing what's coming next, and my heart dropped a little bit when he said that. Because before we got started, I literally mentioned the Excel sheet that maps out every hour of my day.
Yeah. Could you imagine not like? I still think about that when I hear people talking about like like their job is like I'm a freelance writer. I'm like, how? How? Like, what if there's no jobs? What do you do for money? Like,
you have to be good at saving. I have a friend who freelances a lot or did, and he's just, he has savings. He's very careful with money. Me, I'm better than I used to be.
I'm careful with money, but still not. I think that's the other thing is like, I don't know, maybe this is just because I have kids, but like with the like health insurance, like thinking about like the stability that a job provides me. Like if I had to be like, I'm going to the doctors. Okay, well, it's going to be, like you're going to the dentist. Oh, the dentist says you need a root canal. Okay, well, I have dental insurance, so cool. But like if somebody was like, I don't have dental insurance. Okay, that's $2,000. Be like, what? Like, I'll just deal with the pain.
I've never had $2,000. Like that would take me down. That would take me out.
Yeah, we went over this before in one of the other podcasts, but like that's one of those things that I've gotten very good at in the last probably like 6 to 7 years. Is really just being extremely careful with money, and like understanding that allocating money for one thing means you're taking money away from something else. So like that's a hard thing to kind of wrap your head around, like when you don't have a lot of money, but when you start to like save, like we went to Disney World and my wife was like, you know, when I saw the final bill on Disney World for a week at the Polynesian, I was like, bro, do you understand what we could buy with this money? Like, it's an enormous amount of money. Like, we could get a new car.
Did you really call your wife bro?
I say bro to her all the time. Actually,
I get in trouble for that because Romy's daughter calls her bro because kids just say that a lot. So I started doing it, and I had to stop. So now I'll be like bro, and I'll be like, I mean, love of my life.
I do
Like
I do like the real exaggerated, like the thing my students do in class, bruh. Like especially when like this was even the other night we were making dinner and she was like, are you done with that yet? And I was like, bruh, you didn't even make anything. Are you out of your mind asking me if stuff's done? Yo, you're sitting at the table playing with the kids. I'm the one in the kitchen doing the work.
it's just fun to say that stuff.
It is. It does.
Yeah.
And it's also, look, for goodness sake, you need a little levity every once in a while. And I used to say that to kids. Kids used to say that to me all the time. They'd be like, Mr. Doc, you take that too serious. And I'd be like, okay, you know what? As an adult, like in the moment, you kind of want to correct a kid and be like, you know what? You don't know. You're not taking it serious. You do need to do your homework and you need to. And then when you kind of take a step back from it, like I would always be driving home, like after school, and I would literally come up to kids the next day and be like, come here for a second. And they'd be like, what? You're going to yell at me again? I'm like, no, I want to apologize. Because here's the thing. In the moment, I get real hyped because I don't think you see where this is going, like the trajectory of things, because you're young and that's just kind of your worldview at this point. However, I overreacted. I when you say it's not that serious, you're right. It really wasn't that serious, and I blew it up because I thought I was trying to teach you a lesson, or I thought I was trying to get you to do something that I wanted you to do that I thought was beneficial, but in hindsight,
Wait, you said all this to the kid?
oh my god, yeah.
Did he zone out?
It depends. If I like grab them in the morning and like, get them like when they're walking in and they still haven't like really kind of gotten acclimated to like, hey, we're in school, and I just talk to them like a normal person, it sometimes gets through. If I try to do that in a classroom, no way. Kids will never listen to me. Like they would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to know your audience and times. Like if you grab them in the morning, like right before they have breakfast, you're like, come here. And if they think they're going to get in trouble at first anyway, like, come here, let me talk to you. Like, really.
Do you know what today is?
September 28th.
But do you know what happened 21 years ago today?
No.
Dillinger Escape Plan released Calculating Infinity.
Oh, get out, really?
Yeah, I saw it on social media.
Oh, I did. You know what? Now you say that, I did see that. I saw. Yeah, I saw Ben from Dillinger posted that. You're right. I did. What a crazy record.
Yeah, it's the perfect Dillinger record, I think. It's because, I got into them early, like their first EP and the Running Board EP.
Under the Running Board. Yeah.
So, this was the culmination of all that. And they were my favorite band at the time. They were my first favorite band in hardcore.
I think, however, in terms of longevity, what do you listen to more? Do you listen more to Under the Running Board, or do you listen to Calculating Infinity more?
Probably Under the Running Board, just because it's shorter.
Yeah, because I feel like I can only take Dillinger now in smaller doses.
Same.
So I'll do if I do anything from Calculating Infinity, I'll do things like Destro's Secret and then Sugar Coated Sour.
Yes. Yeah, I do like the first 3 tracks.
Yeah.
I'm just older now. No disrespect to the band. I don't listen to music that crazy for that long anymore. Just short, controlled bursts.
That's an extended period of time. When you sit down for 45 minutes to listen to Chaos, it's like I don't have that capacity anymore. Yeah. I used to listen to Brutal Truth records from beginning to end. And it's just like,
we were younger and more adventurous then.
I listened to Grind. There was a band I used to listen to, Plutocracy. I used to put on the whole record. And it's fucking noise. It's awesome, but it is straight noise. I can stand them for about 45 seconds now. I'll like put on a YouTube video and listen to it and go, oh yeah, I remember this one. Dun, 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 and done. That's it. Like I can't get past that part. I'm just like, this is too much.
Well, happy birthday to Calculating Infinity. It's a classic record.
Yeah.
And Liam Wilson posted something funny on Twitter. He said, jealous of anyone who could listen to this for the first time without having the now learn it part looming over their experience. And that I love that, because that's what I asked him. I was like, how do you learn that? Like, how,
Yeah, it's
But
like, the
man's a pro. He got it done.
here's schematics for an iPod. Build one. Like, what? Like, that seems like there's a lot going on here. This seems to be, I need to take some time.
It's sink or swim time. Well, folks, we thank you for joining us for another episode of the Northeast Scene. I think the biggest revelation out of this episode was that you buy clothing at Costco.
Oh my God. Is that really the biggest? Dude, I can tell you right now, you're going to get people that write in and go, yeah, I buy champion sweatshirts from there, or I buy khakis from there. That's what I literally buy the white Kirkland t-shirts because they're like triple thick. They're not like Hanes white t-shirts. They're not like, the almost like see-through kind of ones, like the undershirt ones. Dude, they're thick and they're really nice, and they come in like 5-packs, and they're cheap, and they're awesome.
I didn't even know Costco had clothing, so I guess I got to check it out. Is it like a Walmart type thing?
No. Well, every Costco's kind of set up different. The one I go to, like the whole middle section, so it's kind of like one side is kind of like has like mainly like the food stuff. So like, the freezer section and the refrigerated section and all that kind of like dry goods, like pasta and crap. And then the other side of the store is like kind of like the miscellaneous, like if you want to buy a lamp or a tire pressure gauge or a carpet or like that kind of shit on the other side. And then the whole middle is just clothes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's fucking
I thought
awesome.
it was just food.
No.
Well,
light bulbs, you name, bro, it's fucking insane. It's such a good place.
People freak out about it, so I guess it must be cool or something.
It's $1.50 when you walk in. You can get a gigantic hot dog that is delicious and a 20-ounce soda.
Yeah, that hot dog deal, I saw that someone threatened to kill somebody in the company because they were going to raise the price of the hot dog.
They'll never raise the price of the hot dog.
That's won't. What they said.
They
That's
won't.
What they said.
Yeah, they won't do that because that keeps people. I'm telling you right now, like, I can't get my kids to go unless I know, like, hey, we're going to get churros when we leave. Like, they know, like, all right, well, Daddy's going to buy us stuff from the food court when we're leaving, so I can put up with an hour in this store.
So before we conclude, let's get some show business out of the way.
Yeah.
We want more reviews. Review us on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read your review on the air, good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So review us and write to us at northeastscene@gmail.com. If you have an interesting story or, something to say that we want to share, we'll read that. Get in touch with us. We want to hear from you.
For sure.
Come on. Do it.
Now. Do it like right now.
Yeah. Just write us now. We'll wait. We'll wait right here. Dead air for 7 minutes. No, write to us. Follow us on Instagram, the NE Scene on Instagram and Twitter. And get in touch with us. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
all we've got. It's after 11 p.m. now, and I'm dead tired.
Yeah, I'm tired too, man.
Yeah. All right, so thanks everybody for listening, and until next time.